The basic question of sapiens is, why do humans rule the world? There are so many other animals on the planet, why us? The answer, in brief, that sapiens gives is because we are the most imaginative of all the animals. We invent and believe stories that no other animals will believe. That really fiction is the basis for human power, which sounds very strange. How come fictional stories be the basis for power? But humans are powerful because we can cooperate better than any other animal. And ultimately, all human cooperation is based on fictions. Gods are fictional stories, but also money is a fictional story, and nations are fictional stories. And it is because we believe things that no other animal can believe that we control the planet. The biggest strength of human beings is our ability to trust in numerous strangers and to cooperate with numerous strangers that we have never met in our life. Other animals like chimpanzees or like elephants, they can trust and cooperate only with a small number of other individuals that they personally know. But if you think about, for instance, modern nations like Korea, so there are millions and millions of Korean citizens cooperating and trusting one another, even though we don't know 99.99% of the other people in our country. But the biggest strength of humans is also their biggest weakness, because the same stories that enable strangers to trust one another and to cooperate can also be used to cause people to hate each other and fight each other. Humans can hate other humans that they never met in their life, something that never happens to chimpanzees or to elephants. So the most important thing, I think, for a human being is to be able to tell the difference between fiction and reality. We can use fictional stories like, the laws of a game, like the laws of a football game, in order to organize ourselves. But if these fictional stories cause us to hate and to fight ourselves, we need to remind ourselves, this is just a fantasy in my mind, this is not reality. We cannot predict what will be the next stage of human evolution because it depends on the decisions that we make, all of us make, in the coming years. We now have powers almost like divine powers, like the powers of the gods. We can create completely new life forms, we can change ourselves, we can change our bodies, we can change our minds, but the same powers could also destroy us or destroy the whole world. I can't predict what we will do with our powers because it depends on us, on all of us, on the decisions we make. I hope that people will make responsible decisions. I think we need to distinguish between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is about the big questions of life. Who am I? Why am I here? What is the meaning of life? And spirituality encourages us to bravely look for the answers. Religion is often the opposite of spirituality because it doesn't encourage us to ask big questions and follow them. It dictates certain answers and tells us that we must believe in these answers. And that's why religions often try to control politics, because they want to control people. They want to force people to believe in a certain answer. They want to punish people who refuse to believe in that answer, and for that they need political power. And I think that spirituality is a very important part of life. I meditate every day. I go every year for a long meditation retreat of 1 month or 2 months. But religion, on the other hand, I think it's often something dangerous in the world. First of all, I must say that every person has different routine, and it is not a good idea to simply imitate the routine of somebody else. We each have a different body, a different mind, a different life. So it's good to get ideas and inspirations from other people, but before you adopt something, make sure that it's really fit for you and not for somebody else. Personally, I try in the minutes before going to sleep, to prepare my body and mind for sleep by not doing anything too exciting. I wouldn't like to play a computer game or watch a television program or watch the news just before I go to sleep, because then it really disturbs the mind and it's more difficult to sleep. Maybe I would just read a book, and I would say good night to my husband. When I go to sleep, I usually, for a few minutes, just meditate. If I fall asleep, that's wonderful. If not, it's a good practice to end the day just with meditation. I basically try to observe the breath coming in and out of the nostrils, just feeling what is happening without trying to do anything or think about anything or plan anything. I think it's a good practice of letting go, of not trying to control everything all the time, because the one thing you cannot control, you cannot force yourself to do, is falling asleep. The more you try to fall asleep, the more difficult it is. But in English, we say you fall asleep. You don't jump asleep. It's when you let go and you fall and sleep takes you. So in a way, it's also good to end the day gesture of trust, that you just let go, you stop trying to control, you take the kind of black sleep, and you trust it will be okay, and you will wake up in the morning. The last time I visited was more than 5 years ago. I wanted to come earlier, but there was first the COVID epidemic, then there was lots of trouble in my country. So I'm glad that last I managed to come back. I'm traveling between a lot of countries, and people often are fixated. They focus on the small differences between people in different countries. I think that Sigmund Freud called it the narcissism of small differences. Now, these tiny, tiny differences between people in different countries, and everybody focuses on that and magnifies it. Basically, we are much more similar human beings all over the world. There are small cultural, political differences, but basic feelings, emotions, our hopes, our fears are the same. And I hope this can be a strong basis to build trust and cooperation between humans all over the world, especially in this difficult time when we need to cooperate in order to deal with the challenge of AI and with other challenges like the ecological crisis. Finally, I hope it won't be such a long time again before I again come to visit Korea.